Southern fried chicken. Something crispy, crunchy, but most importantly, moist. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Chef Millie Peartree. Today, we're gonna make a simple, super easy Southern fried chicken my way. I'm gonna walk you through step by step how to brine it and how to season it. I'm gonna show you how to fry it. And last but certainly not least, I know you know how to do this, but I'm gonna show you how to eat it. I don't even wanna talk about this anymore, like my mouth is watering. Welcome to my kitchen, and let's get to it. You know, soul food is a labor of love, and this is enough to feed a crowd of about 8 people, or if you're really hungry or hangry, feeds about 4 people. If you don't have all of these spices, feel free to use what you have. Most importantly, we wanna incorporate flavor. First things first, now we're gonna brine our chicken. Brining process, salt water solution. We wanna make sure we infuse as much flavor and moisture into our chicken as possible. And during the brining process, this is the time where whatever you want your chicken to taste like, this is what you're gonna add to this. So if it's peppercorns, if it's fresh herbs, I'm gonna use some thyme and some lemon. I'm gonna use some bay leaves. But if you want like an orange flavor, this is the perfect time to infuse all of that flavor because it'll get into the meat, it'll get into the marrow of the bone. If you're the type of person that like to chew on your chicken bones, I'm not gonna do that, but no judgment over here. But this is the perfect time to add moisture. In this bowl, I have about 4 cups of water and a cup of salt. You wanna have somewhat of a ratio because you don't want this to be too salty. But ultimately, you wanna make sure once you add your chicken to this bowl, it covers all of the chicken, because what good is chicken on the bottom that's brine and the top isn't brine. So right now I have a 4-to-1 ratio of the water and salt. And now I'm gonna add some thyme. I like to use fresh thyme. I think fresh herbs give food such a good flavor. So this is more than 2 sprigs. This is about 5 or 6. But you know, I like thyme, so we're gonna add that in there. I'm gonna give this like a little mixy mix to dissolve some of that salt water on the bottom. I'm gonna add a couple bay leaves. So now I'm gonna add some lemon to my brine as well. Let me move my chicken back a little bit. And lemon, freshness, and it reinforces that thyme flavor. Squeeze this in here. So everything that I want my chicken to taste like at the moment, I have it in this bowl. And we have our chicken, and this is a traditional Southern way of chicken, like when you go to like a church fry or a chicken dinner. They'll ask you, do you want white or dark meat? And the white meat would be a breast and a wing attached, and then the dark meat would be a thigh and a leg attached, and you'll just get the whole thing. We're gonna add these chicken pieces to our brine. Get it all in there, and again, we want it fully submerged in this water. So we have all of our chicken in here. I like to set it on top of a sheet tray because, heaven forbid, this spills in your refrigerator. Who wants to clean up a whole bunch of water? So you keep it on top of something so things don't tip over. And we're gonna pop it in the refrigerator for about an hour or so, just to infuse all of this chicken to make it super moist before we start to fry it. So we had our chicken brining for about an hour. I poured off the liquid, and now I'm gonna take some of these things out. I'm gonna take out the lemons, I'm gonna toss them, and I'm just gonna set this to the side for a second. So in this bowl, I have some flour, and I'm gonna add some cornstarch to it. And then I'm going to add some baking powder. And now we're gonna get into our seasonings. So I have some black pepper I'm gonna add directly to my chicken. Fresh cracked black is the best. I'm gonna add some black pepper to our dry mixture. And I'm gonna add some onion powder. And we're just gonna go back and forth to both. We wanna season the chicken and we wanna season our flour. So the reason why we season both is, think about when you go to like a fast food chain and you see all the seasoning on the outside of the crust. That's because the flour is seasoned as well. So I wanna season my chicken and I wanna season my flour because I want as much flavor as possible. So I added some paprika. I have some cayenne pepper. I like it hot, I like it spicy. And I have some garlic powder. And again, eyeball it, use as much or as little as you like. And last but certainly not least, some sage. Okay, that's a lot of seasonings, right? So I'm gonna mix with my dry mixture. Get some on the counter, doesn't matter. Why not? We're cooking. And then with this, I'm going to add a couple more things. I'm going to add some buttermilk. And I'm going to add 2 eggs. And why am I adding wet? Because I want all of this dry to stick to my chicken. You want a nice crispy and crunchy consistency. So the best thing I can do to mix this chicken and get the seasoning up under the skin, I'm gonna use my hands. Just get right in here, mix it up, get it all on there. We're gonna wash our hands, and that's what we should be doing this whole entire time. You know, we're gonna wash our hands. We wash our hands before we start cooking, we wash our hands during cooking, and we're gonna wash our hands after. So just so I have more surface room for my chicken, I'm gonna add it into this dish. So I'm going to, you know, fluff out my flour, my seasoned flour a little bit more. And the trick, this buttermilk egg mixture, I'm going to add a little bit of it to our flour mixture. And then we're gonna mix again. And you may ask, why is she adding liquid to her dry? So you see how it clumps together a little bit? So these little scraggly pieces are actually going to stick to our chicken, and what this is more texture. Okay, so I have a baking sheet, and let's get to dredging our chicken. So have a breast and a wing, and look, and leave that piece of thyme on there. It'll fry beautifully and it'll add delicious flavor. And you're gonna get in here and you're gonna press it on there. And this is something you could do with your kids too. Like, kids like doing stuff like this. Actually, this is the time I'll tell the kids to come downstairs. You know, cornstarch, of course, gives it another layer of crispy crunchy, but baking powder, it activates the pH balance and the fattiness of the skin. So this is one of those dishes where if you don't want to get your hands dirty, this isn't the dish for you. But feel free to use gloves. And our last piece. We want all of this crispy, crunchy coating to stay on our chicken. If we take it, we drop it directly into the oil right now, a lot of it will fall off. We don't want a lot of this flour to hit the bottom and burn the oil. We're gonna pop it back in the refrigerator for about another 30 minutes. Again, we're gonna clean as we go, and we're gonna preheat our oil, and we're gonna start frying some chicken. Okay, our chicken pieces. So the way we can test to see if our oil is hot enough, we can take some flour from the chicken and just drop it in. You hear the sizzle and it floats. Also, if you have a candy thermometer, you can make sure it reads at about 375 degrees. So we'll drop about 2 to 3 pieces at a time. We'll fry it until it's golden brown, and then we're gonna fry our chicken in batches because we're gonna add cold chicken to hot oil, and we don't want the temperature to come down too much. Our chicken starts to boil. So I'm a dark meat girl. So I'm gonna start with my drums and thighs. We're gonna push it away from us. We don't want splatter. Away. We're not gonna peek in between. We're just gonna let it go. I'm gonna take my tongs. I'm gonna make sure it didn't drop to the bottom. And that's it. We're just gonna let it fry. Another thing about fried chicken is you have to eat it hot, fresh out the grease. So if you're inviting folks over for the cookout, you know, you want about to play some spades, whatever the case may be, you better get here on time. And if you don't, you might not have a piece. So, I mean, as the chicken fries, you're just looking for golden brown consistency. The oil's at a great temperature. And when it's cooked, we're looking for the juices to run clear. So oftentimes, you can fry chicken, it'll be cooked perfectly to temperature, and it'll still look pink in the middle. That does not necessarily mean that your chicken is underdone, and sometimes it's the feed that the chicken gets that makes it look pink in the middle. So it's most important that your internal temperature reads at 165 degrees. So our chicken is cooking. I'm gonna take a lined baking sheet with some paper towel. Feel free to use a baker's rack, but you know, I just use paper towel. I've always used it that way. I feel like it absorbs more of the oil. So I'm gonna take my thighs out. Look how beautiful, see? Look at these scraggly pieces, see how crispy and crunchy that is? To drain them. So pretty. And this is the time I like to hit it with a little bit of salt. The chicken is salty enough from the brine, but I like to crack and crunch into chicken, and I love to use kosher salt because it has like this little extra bite to it. And it's most important that you season your chicken again when it's fresh out the grease so the salt sticks to it. So now that we have our thighs out, I'm gonna go in with my breast and repeat the process. Again, don't drop it in here. Just lay it. Don't put your fingers in there. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret how I like to eat fried chicken. I like the sweet, the salty, and the spiciness of chicken. So let's make a little quick hot honey, okay? So let's get a pot out. It's super simple and easy. So I'm gonna take some honey, get it into our little pan, and I'm gonna add some cayenne pepper. And feel free to add as much or as little as you like. You could add crushed red pepper flakes, you could add Fresno chilies, you could add jalapenos, whatever type of heat you want your hot honey to have, please add that. And of course, most importantly, a pinch of salt to bring all the flavors together. Now we're just gonna give it a little mix. I'm just gonna serve it warm, just until it warms through. See, and you know what I like about making hot honey? You can put it in a mason jar, and you can put it on top of biscuits. You know, you can use it for savory waffles. I mean, you can pretty much use this condiment for anything that you want a sweet and spicy glaze to. Now we're gonna take out our breast. All right. Right. Nothing like hot fried chicken. And I know you're wondering why this little piece is hanging out here. That's my piece. So I'll make sure it tastes good for my company, right? So we're gonna hit it with a little salt. To the end. I'm gonna turn off our cooktop. And here's the thing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a lid on this because once this is cool, I'm gonna strain it and I'm gonna use my oil again. Listen, I'm all about saving $1 now. Move this over, okay? I'm gonna take my hot honey, drizzle on top of a piece of chicken. Alrighty, so let's get into it. So as you see, look at how crispy and crunchy. You see like those little shaggy pieces? That's from us adding that extra liquid to our flour. And we're gonna open it up. Oh, I don't even wanna talk about this anymore, like my mouth is watering. You see how tender that is? You see how that bone just falls out? And that's from our brining. Okay, so I'm gonna taste my skin first. Perfectly seasoned, crispy, crunchy. I taste all the seasoning. Let's get into some of this meat. What I like about this fried chicken recipe, it has so much flavor. It's not overtly salty. It has a good balance of heat from the cayenne pepper. And I taste the fresh elements as well. The lemon, the thyme. And to cap off this delicious chicken, I added some hot honey at the end to give me like that sweetness and even more heat. And I'm hoping that I inspired you to step out of your comfort zone a little bit more and try my version of Southern fried chicken.